About 7 or 8 months ago, I made the jump from Windows to Linux. At the time, I didn't really know what I was getting into. I heard the usual things: it's hard, it's only for developers, nothing works, you need to live in the terminal. What actually pushed me to try it was watching the Linus Tech Tip video where he installs SteamOS onto an AMD system, and also the frustration with Windows. I wanted more control over my system, fewer things happening in the background, and an operating system that felt like it was working for me instead of against me. And since switching, I've been running Fedora full time, and honestly, I've been loving it. That doesn't mean everything was smooth or perfect. Some apps didn't make the jump, some games didn't either, and there were definitely moments where I had to stop, read and learn. Along the way, I realised something: most people thinking about switching to Linux are asking the same questions. I was asking them too, so in this video, I want to walk through the top 20 questions noob might ask before switching to Linux, from the point of view of somebody who is still learning and figuring out things themselves.
Can I still use my favourite Windows programs on Linux?
Well, yes and no. Some work through tools like Proton or Wine, but others don't run at all. It's usually better to look for native Linux alternatives where possible. Personally, I would put a list together of Windows apps that you really need and check first.
Which Linux distro should I actually start with? There are so many.
Well, yeah, that is one of the challenges that you will face when you're looking to switch over to Linux. You'll ask the question, what's the best distro? You'll get 10 or 15 different answers. Honestly, it really doesn't matter at first. It depends on what you want it for and how technical you are. Zorin, Ubuntu, Mint and Nabara, all great choices to start out on. CachyOS is great if you want performance, and Arch is more for the technically minded. Bazzite is fantastic if you're gaming focused. Personally, I use Fedora, but I would suggest to pick one that looks friendly for you and just start. You'll figure out what you like later.
Is Linux really that hard to use if I've only ever known Windows?
Well, it does feel a little bit weird at first, but most of it is pretty logical once you spend a few days on it. Using a desktop environment like KDE will make things more familiar to you. I think the hardest part is unlearning some of Windows habits.
Can I break my computer if I install Linux wrong?
If you install it to the wrong drive, yes, you could easily overwrite your Windows install. Just make sure that you back up everything first. Installing it to a separate drive is the safest way to try it out, and this is the only way that I would recommend. If you're looking to install it on the same drive as your Windows partition, then you might want to go and find a video that can help you with that. I do not recommend that approach.
Do I need to know how to use the terminal every day?
Actually, no, you don't. Terminal is very powerful and it can make life easier. It can also cause big issues with your system if you don't use it with care. Most things can be done through the desktop environment or the App Store. The terminal just makes some tasks faster. Because of this, most solutions to problems you find on the internet will be command line. You will get used to it, but don't worry about it when you first get going.
Can I play my Steam games on Linux? And do they actually run well?
Absolutely yes. This channel is Linux Gamer Life and I am a big gamer. Most games will just work thanks to Valve and to Proton. Lots of Windows games run almost perfectly. A few don't due to things like anti-cheat, such games like Apex Legends, Call of Duty and Battlefield, but it's surprising how much actually does work. Even games that have anti-cheat like Arc Raiders, they work great. There is a site called ProtonDB where you can go and check if a game is likely to run or not. This is a crowdsourced site though, so it can be a little bit out of date, so just proceed with caution.
What do people use instead of Microsoft Office?
Well, LibreOffice is the usual choice and it's the one that I use mostly, and I actually use it to write this script. It does the job. OnlyOffice looks closer to Word, but Microsoft and Google Docs do actually work fine in the browser, so that is an option.
Will my graphics card just work?
Usually yes, especially with AMD and Intel. Nvidia can take a bit of setup depending on your distro. I would double check before taking the plunge. My advice is if you have an AMD, go for it. If you have Nvidia, then it's much better now than it was, but good luck to you.
Can I install Linux on a second drive and keep Windows too?
Absolutely, you can do that, and that is actually the best way to start. Just make sure you pick the right drive during install.
Is Linux better for privacy and security, or is that just hype?
Well, it's generally safer because you control more and there's less spyware type stuff, but you still need to use common sense. Clicking on dodgy links and downloading dodgy files can still cause you issues, so please still take care.
How do you even install apps on Linux? Is there an app store?
Yeah, most distros have one like Software Center or Discover, and you can also use a thing called Flatpak or App Image, which work kind of like portable apps. Using your built-in software manager is the safest way to begin with, but there are other options that you will find later on.
Will my everyday hardware still work on Linux?
For the most part, yes. Things like keyboards, mice, controllers and monitors usually work straight away. More specialized hardware can take a bit of research, but the basics are rarely an issue.
Can I go back to Windows if Linux doesn't work out?
Well, absolutely yes. As long as you don't remove your Windows install, you can always boot back into Windows. The key is not overwriting the Windows drive by accident.
What's the difference between Linux itself and a Linux distro?
Linux is the kernel, which is kind of the core of the system, and the distro is everything that's built around it, things like the installer, desktop and default apps. Most beginner differences come from the distro choices, not Linux itself.
Does Linux run faster than Windows on older hardware?
Well, I don't have older hardware, but from what I understand online, yes, it usually can run faster than Windows. It's a lot lighter, especially if you use a lightweight desktop environment like XFCE or LXQT.
Do I still need antivirus software on Linux?
Well, there's a lot of debate about this, and as far as I'm concerned, not really for home use. Viruses are rare, but you can still use something like ClamAV if you want some peace of mind.
Can I still use things like Discord and OBS on Linux?
Yes, absolutely. Both have Linux versions and are widely used. Most popular communication and content creation tools are available on Linux in some form.
What's a desktop environment, and does it actually matter?
Well, it's basically the style and layout of your desktop, like KDE or Cosmic or Cinnamon or GNOME. It matters if you care about how it looks and feels. Personally, I prefer KDE, but I am keeping an eye on Cosmic as it has a lot of potential.
Is it easy to make Linux look and feel like Windows?
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty easy to do. Some themes and layouts make it look almost identical to Windows 10 or 11.
Once I switch, will I ever need Windows again?
Well, it really depends on what you do. For gaming and everyday stuff, I only run Linux. I have had to give up some games, and I do have a Mac for music production and editing images, but that's because I have premium versions of those tools. If I hadn't spent so much on Ableton and its plugins, I would probably migrate to Linux native apps. So there you go, switching from Windows to Linux can feel daunting at first, and I won't pretend otherwise. There's a mindset shift involved. Some apps won't be there, some games won't run, and you do have to be willing to learn a little as you go. But if you go into it with an open mind and accept that you might need alternatives and are okay with letting go of a few things, then Linux can be a really great place to be. It's fast, it's flexible, and puts you back in control of your own system. I am still learning and I am still experimenting, but after months of daily use, I can honestly say I don't miss Windows the way I thought I would. And if you're on the fence right now, hopefully this helps you to decide whether Linux might be worth a try for you too. If you've made it this far, thanks, I really do appreciate it. I am keen to hear in the comments if this video has helped you, or if you have made the switch already, what questions I may have missed. You could also just leave an emoji in the comments for the sake of engagement, because it really does make a difference. Thank you so much for watching, you guys take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.